So now anyway, so before just one second. So you are able to see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now anyway, so last class, we have almost closed our finite difference. Okay. So that entire the book we have almost covered. Of course, the basic, all the fundamentals, we have covered in finite difference, and then we started our pseudo spectral methods. Okay. So now, of course, like last class we already told you, right? So pseudo spectral method is essentially, you write the solution, say, as in terms of Fourier series, or some Chebyshev series, or some any orthogonal polynomials, and then you try to find out their coefficients and others. Okay. So then we have also seen, you see, dispersion, stability, spectral. These pseudo spectral methods are much, they have a lot of advantages. Okay. So compared to this finite difference and other methods. Okay. So now see, for pseudo spectral methods, see this textbook you have seen, right? This Eigel's book, he has not covered in great detail. Okay. So the textbook, whatever the computational seismology, the textbook, he has just field like finite difference also, he borrowed little bit, pseudo spectral little bit, like that book has been written. Okay. So for finite difference, the detailed textbook, as already I told you, right, that Mogzo. Okay. So this book, which I think I gave all of you, it covers all the details. Okay. In great detail, it will give you this finite difference. Now similarly for pseudo spectral methods, say, okay, so now there are not many, textbooks are there. Okay. So there are only like finite difference, you will have several textbooks, but in pseudo spectral, so there are very few books are there. So one excellent book is, I will just show you this textbook, you can try. Okay. So this I will send it to you in WhatsApp also. Okay. Now you are able to see.
Yes, sir.
So this is okay.
So,
So this is a book actually, which is Chebyshev and Fourier spectral methods, which is written by Professor Boyd. Okay, so this is an excellent book for the pseudo spectral method. So I suggest all of you followed it to go through this textbook. It is Dover Publications. Okay. So of course this book, total book is not required as far as this course is concerned. Okay. So I want all of you to go through essentially, this first chapter, the second chapter, say. Okay. So some, he has given interpolation, the pseudo spectral methods up to 6 chapters. If we can go through this textbook, that is almost 120 pages, it will be sufficient. Okay. If you want more details, he does linear eigenvalue, all kinds of problems also he discusses in his book. Okay. So this is an excellent book which will give you, a nice introduction, you see, about this spectral methods and pseudo spectral, that is a false, the spectral methods itself. So this book is very very well written. Okay. So he has given all the details like spherical, also cylindrical, all kinds of this one, differential equations, so he has given many methods, domain decomposition, tau method, many are there. Okay. They may not be required for our course, but if we can go through this book in great detail. Okay. And he also gives all the basis functions generally widely used in mathematics, like trigonometric basis functions, Fourier series, then Chebyshev polynomials, legendary, then Jagan-Boyer polynomials, Hermite, all those details are available in this book also. Okay. So I suggest all of you to go through this textbook. No need to get afraid. It is 680 pages. It is a huge textbook. But if you want, for as per our course is concerned, so the first 100 or maybe 120 or 160 pages actually. Okay. That itself is sufficient for this book. So this book contains up to chapter 6. Okay. So this you can follow. Okay. So this is an excellent book for pseudo spectral methods. Not only pseudo spectral method, it is a spectral methods. Okay. So this is one book, I suggest all of you to go through. Then one more book also is there. Okay. That is this book. Okay. So this is also a nice book, but not that great detail actually. Okay. So it is a pseudo spectral methods, it says, but you can quickly, it is very written, very brief. Okay, but many of the details are there. It is sufficient, but you may not get a nice feel about the pseudo spectral method. But this also you can you find whichever book is convenient or easy for you to follow. Say you can go through this one. So this also it does by this orthogonal functions, key properties, and then you see pseudo spectral variations and others, and he just shows some little bit applications, and then he closes the book itself. Okay, so these two books you can follow, okay, for the pseudo spectral methods. Okay, but this book I strongly recommend all of you to study up to chapter 6. Okay, so now anyway, so let us go back to our course. Okay, so I will just so the John Boyd. Okay, so this textbook Fourier and Chebyshev, so this is an excellent book actually. Okay, so this anyway, so now other thing is a formula, so these two you can follow for the pseudo spectral method. Okay, so now anyway, so now let us go back to our pseudo spectral method. So once again we will discuss some the few basics actually. Okay, what is that we have done in the spectral methods. So generally in all the spectral methods, okay, like whatever we discussed in our last class. Okay, so what do we do in the spectral method? So if you have wave equations, dou square u by dou t square, okay, some m dou square u by dou x square, say. Okay, so if you have any equations, so what do you do in pseudo spectral method? What is the starting point? See, what do you do in in pseudo spectral method? So what is the starting point? No. So in finite difference, how do you start? See, if you want to solve this wave equations or acoustic wave equation or whatever equation you have, so if you want to solve, say, by finite difference method, say, what is your starting point? How do you solve? No.
So in finite difference, we assume solutions.
No, that is solution. In finite difference, you don't assume a solution. You understand? Be careful. See, in finite difference method, Siddharth, you were telling, right, something. No.
We will write in terms of differences.
Excellent. Okay,
And
so
substitute solution.
follow. So in finite difference method, so you convert them into difference equations. You follow, right? So for the second derivative, so you remember we have derived all the formulas. You remember that all those 9 by 8, 1 by 12. We had weights actually. So you derive the difference equations and then you solve the problem. And now in spectral methods, what is the starting point? Now what do you do? Equation. So last class we discussed, right, in pseudo spectral methods. What is that? Do we do? What is the starting point for a partial differential equation? Now, what's the starting point? Last class, what did we discuss? If people forgotten or how? Now, what did we say in pseudo spectral method? So, what will be this derivative with respect to time? So, what is that we will do in pseudo spectral? See, you have a space derivative and you have time derivative. Okay, what did we say in the last class in the pseudo spectral methods? Okay, what is that we try to do here? So, this is a time derivative. So, how we will solve this time derivative?
Partial differential equations in space and time.
That is fine. How do you solve this equation in spectral method? So
We
last
write in
class
Fourier series or any other orthonormal.
By integration.
followed. So this what you will do. So but first thing, what did we say in the last class? In any method, say if you have x comma time, so what we said was the time derivative. Okay. So this time derivative, say what we said was this time derivative we will solve by finite difference. You followed, right? See the time derivative you followed, right? We will use the finite difference method. So some noise is coming. Okay. So the time derivatives, okay. So we use the finite difference method to solve the time derivative, but the spatial derivatives, okay. So whatever the spatial derivatives are there, okay, with respect to x, with respect to y and others, we use these type of orthogonal polynomials. So some orthogonal functions, okay, maybe Fourier series or something like this. So this is the starting point in all spectral methods. So the time derivatives are represented in terms of finite difference, or your Runge-Kutta or Newmark, some other scheme or something like that. But the spatial derivatives, so we will use orthogonal functions, okay, Fourier series, or Chebyshev polynomials, or all the ordinary polynomials, etc. Also we will use. So this is a starting point. So whenever you see, so this solution, say, so uy of x, okay, or u of x, say, so this is our spatial derivative, okay, or the spatial, this one we write, so we approximate this in terms of some, approximate this one. So we write the solution like this: n is equal to capital N to 0. So we have an and phi n of x actually. Okay, so we write the solution like this. So phi n, these are nothing but the orthogonal polynomials. They may be Fourier series, or they may be Chebyshev series, or anything else. Okay, so these are all the orthogonal functions. Okay, so we write the solution like this. And if you have any differential equations, say, okay, so let us say our differential equation, if I write as some LU is equal to f of x, where this L is the operator, say, okay. So this is an operator, okay, of the differential equation. You follow? So differential equation, say, okay. So we substitute here, okay. So you substitute this expression here. So we compute this residual, that is the error, okay. So which is defined as R. This is a residue. So of course this residue depends on the coefficients a1 you followed, right, up to an. These are the coefficients of our orthogonal function. So L U N, say, minus f. So this is our residual. So now so you find out this a naught, the coefficients of your function a1 up to an. Okay, so using this residuals. So here, to find out these coefficients, there are variety of methods are there. One is what we said last class was collocation method actually. Okay, so which is widely used in the spectral methods. So collocation method, this is anyway used in pseudo spectral and spectral methods. Okay, so another one is the Galerkin approach, we say. You followed. So Galerkin the approach. Now, so this is two approaches are there actually. Okay, so I hope all of you have heard in this Galerkin approach, right, in your FEM courses or other courses in your PG. Can anybody tell me what do you do in Galerkin approach? See, Galerkin methods, you would have studied, right, in maybe dynamics also, approximate methods to find out the natural frequencies, or even in FEM it is widely used, energy methods. So what do you do in Galerkin method? See, what is the main assumption in Galerkin approaches? So you people have studied, right?
We assume weight function.
No, weight functions are there, but what is the main assumption in Galerkin approach? How do you find out these coefficients?
So continuous problems are converted into discrete problems, sir.
No. So you are talking randomly followed, right? What do you do in Galerkin approach? How do you find out these coefficients? See, I have a differential equation. Okay, so now I have to solve this differential equation. So now I have assumed the solution as some a naught, sin x plus a2 sin x, something. I have written the solution. And now what do we do in Galerkin approach? Now, what is that we try to do? See, suppose in the dynamics or whatever, say, suppose you have mu double dot plus ku plus u dot is equal to some f. So this is our basic equation of motion actually. Okay, so now we have assumed the solution in terms of some functions a naught x plus a2 x square plus a3 x cube, something. Okay, some approximation I have done. Okay, so now if I substitute u in this equation, say, what will happen? So this is an approximate solution actually. Okay. Suppose if you assume the exact solution, say, so you have assumed exact solution, and if you substitute in this equation, what happens? So if I substitute exact value, so this equation, if you write say mu double dot plus ku plus cu dot, say the error minus f actual. Okay. So this is our error in the equation, say. Okay. So if I substitute exact solution, what will be this error?
Error will be zero.
Zero.
So this will be 0 actually. Okay. But if I assume, if I substitute any approximate solutions, like polynomials or some Fourier series or some Chebyshev polynomials or something, say. Now what happens in this equation if I substitute? My error will be 0. So
No.
error will
No.
not be equal to 0. So you will have some error you followed, right? So that is what we are calling as this residue actual. Okay. So now in Galerkin approach, say, so now what we do is you assume some approximate solution like this, some Fourier series or polynomials or whatever you want. So you substitute, so you compute the residue here. So Galerkin approach, what the basic philosophy in this Galerkin approach, is like this actually. So what we try to do, so now these x naught, all these things, if you call them as the basis functions. Okay, so these are all if you call them as the basis functions. So what we try to do is the residual, say. So in Galerkin approach, the main assumption is the residual. Okay, so whatever is the error, so residual is orthogonal. Okay, orthogonal to the basis functions. Okay, basis functions used in the approximation. You followed. So this is the main the philosophy behind this Galerkin approach actually. Okay, so error and the basis functions, they are orthogonal to each other. So how do you prove the orthogonality? So if you have two functions, say f of x and g of x, and if I say they are orthogonal to each other, what should happen?
Dot product
Integration should be 0.
The dot product are in, so you can write as f of x, g of x, say dx, this should be equal to 0. So this is what we say orthogonal. So now in our Galerkin approach also, what to do is integral the residue, that epsilon of x, say that error whatever you have multiplied by your basis function. So phi 1 of x, say is equal to 0. Then epsilon x phi 2 of x, say is equal to 0. Then epsilon x, say. Then if you have assumed 3 basis functions, say, so 3, this one will be 0. So you will get 3 equations actually. Okay, and the 3 basis functions means how many constants are there? A1 and A2 actually. So 3 equations will be there. So 3 unknowns are there, 3 equations you solve and you get the constants actually, A0, A1 and A2. This is what we do in the Galerkin approach. Okay. So which is anyway the classical in finite elements also you would have seen, or even whatever the previous thing. Now in the weight functions, they say weights are nothing but these these basis functions itself. Okay, so like for example, so this problem, so you have to write this error, say whatever you have multiplied by x, then epsilon by x square, like that we write. So you will get several solutions, you solve it actually. So this is a classical the Galerkin approach. Now this collocation methods, which is anyway our the requirement for our pseudo spectral methods. Now in collocation method, what we try to do is so we say that we have to select actually. Okay, this AK, that is the coefficients. You have to select AK such that so that the boundary conditions are satisfied. Okay, so the boundary conditions are satisfied, and then but make the residual. Okay, so what we do is the residual 0. Okay, at as many at as many spatial points as possible. Okay, so this is what we do in the collocation method actually. So now here what we are doing, you see, we are not doing any integral or we are not doing anything. So suppose if this is my domain, say, okay, so if I have some 3 coefficients are there, see, like for example, if I assume there are 3 basis functions, say, So there are basically how many unknowns are there? So 3 unknowns are there. So to find out 3 unknowns, say how many equations you require? Suppose if there are n number of unknowns, how many equations you want?
N number of
N number. So now 3 means 3. So what to do? The space domains. Let us say 0 to 10 kilometers, or whatever our domain, 1 meter, 2 meter beams say. So now since there are 3 basis functions, so you take one point here, another point here, another point here actually. So now what you say is your error, that is LU minus F, whatever equation you have, you say that you find out error at this point actually, epsilon 1, error at this point, error at this point. So we write 3 equations. Okay, epsilon 1 is 0, epsilon 2 is 0, and epsilon 3 is 0. So you solve this equations, say, and then you follow, right? You get the the constants a1, a2, a3 kind of a thing. Okay, so this is a basic philosophy behind this this collocation method. So generally this is also known as interpolation also. Okay, so many times these people also call this as interpolation actually. So essentially you are just interpolating. Okay, but interpolation, collocation, they are widely used. So collocation is a word if you make say like for example, if the number of unknowns are n number of unknowns are there, say, okay, and then you are calculating error at n points. So then so which means your collocation or your interpolating points depends on the number of unknowns or the number of the basis functions. Then interpolation becomes a collocation actually. Okay, so n number of you followed it, basis functions or n number of constants are there. Okay, or n number of constants or basis functions you have used, and n number of, for each basis function you have a weight actual, or its amplitude kind of a thing. So now if the number of unknowns are more, so how many points are required? So like for example 3 means 3 equations. If you are having 5 basis functions, so you have to find out error at how many points? See, if I have 5 points, so if you have n, so now, so what is so what is happening here? So if you are having 1000 basis functions, say, so now you have to make the error 0 at the 1000 points you followed. So these both of them are same, say n unknowns and this one. So this we call as the collocation method actually. Okay, so collocation method is nothing as same as your interpolation, but in collocation, say, so your number of basis functions decide actually. Okay, so where to make the error 0 at how many points you have to make the error 0. So both of them are interlinked to each other. So this is what we call as a collocation method, and this is our starting point for this method is also known as pseudo-spectral method. Okay. Yeah, so last class, of course, I told you, but we didn't go into that great detail. Okay, so pseudo-spectral method is, it comes under this collocation method. Okay, or even the spectral methods also. Okay, pseudo-spectral method or this spectral methods, say, so they all come under this collocation. Okay, so because you are not doing anything, you are just interpolation kind of a thing only we have to do here itself. Okay, so now to just have a idea, say, okay, so if you see one classical, so if you see just one PD or it is a OD, I'm sorry, only spatial derivative. So I have an equation like this, so dou square u by dou x square minus some x to the power of 6 plus 3x square, say, multiplied by u is equal to 0. So I have a differential equation, and it's ordinary differential equation, only spatial derivative is there. Okay, because just now I told you, right, if you are having a partial differential equation, time derivatives are anyway solved by finite difference. Only spatial derivatives only we are looking at pseudo-spectral method. Okay, so this is my differential equation, and the boundary conditions are like this: u at -1 and u at 1, say, is 1. Okay, and the exact solution, say, you can solve using our mathematical this itself is so exact solution is this is e to the power of mod less x to the power of 4 minus this by oh sorry x to the power of I'm just 1 second. No. So e to the power of x to the power of 4 minus 1 by 4. Okay, so this is exact solution. Now we want to solve this by our collocation method or something, say. So now we approximate. So now we assume our approximate solution like this, some u as so this is an approximate solution. So u as some 1 plus 1 minus x square. So a naught plus a1x plus a2 into x square. So this is an approximate solution. So we have approximated the solution like this actually. So now how many unknowns are there here, or how many constants are there here? No.
3.
How many are there? 3. So a0, a1, then a2 actual. Okay. So now if I want to choose by collocation method, say what is that you have to do? No. Or the pseudo spectral method, what is that you have to do? No.
So we need to choose 3 points, sir.
So now we have to decide 3 points. What are the collocation points? This is what is the first thing. Okay. So because collocation points, they depend on how many number of unknowns are there in the problem. So if it is more means more collocation points. So now we should have 3 collocation points. Okay. So anyway, for this simple problem, we choose collocation points as minus half, then 0, then half. So this is the 3 points we have taken actually. So now so what is that now? Once the points are decided, say what is that you have to do? What is that you have to do? So points we have discussed, solution now what is that you have to do? So this is my equation.
Error should be 0.
What do you mean by error? So you have to substitute u in so you have to substitute in this equation, so you will get error. Okay, so this has to be 0 at these 3 points actually. Okay, so now you substitute, say, so you substitute approximate in the ODE. Okay, so you will get error. Okay, so the error will be, and then you evaluated these 3 points, that is minus half, then 0, then half. You can substitute x is equal to minus half, one equation, x is equal to this, you can substitute all those things you can try. So residue, say, so now the error or residual in this problem is you can find out. So this you can use by you substitute. Okay, so u in ODE, so you will get a big equation. So you will have a0, a1, and then a2 terms will be there. So now you have to evaluate at all those points. So that xi is equal to minus half. Okay, so what is the error? So this problem, if you write 659 some 256 times a0 plus 1683, say, okay, by 512 times a1 minus 1171 by 1024 times a2 minus 49 by 64. So this is the error at xi is equal to minus half. Okay, so this has to be equated to 0. So this is at minus half, then xi is equal to 0. Okay, so you will have minus 2 into a0 minus a2. So this has to be equated to 0. Then xi is equal to plus half actually. So this once again you get the equation like this, some 250 not 3 by 512 times a1 minus 1171 by 1024 times a2 minus 49 by 64, say, is equal to 0. Okay, so this is our 3 equations. So at the 3 collocation points actually. So you solve this, you will get our coefficient. So a0 becomes minus 784 by 3807. And a1 say is 0 and a2 is a0 actually. Okay, so this is our solution. So now so this is how we obtain in pseudo spectral methods, or this collocation the methods, interpolation itself. Okay, so now you followed it. So this is how the pseudo spectral methods, so you can find out the exact value and the error. Okay, so exact solution, how good is this method? So if you want to improve the if you want to decrease the error, say, what is that you have to do? So if you want, you have to include more number of now how many we have included? So 3 terms we have included. So if you want, say, you can add a3 into x cube. Then what happens? Your collocation number of points also required becomes more. So this is a problem here. Okay, so as you increase the basis functions, your number of points are. Now how the solution will be? So now here this is minus half, then you followed it 0, then plus half, set. So the error will be 0 exactly at these 3 points. But other points error may not be 0. Some wild oscillations you followed, right? They also can happen. So like last class also we told you, right? In the Fourier series also say, okay. So when you try to approximate Fourier series, at the node points they exactly match, but others there will be some error we expect here. Okay, so this is a basic philosophy of our the pseudospectral method itself. So now if you try to compare this with finite elements and other things to say, okay, would have done FEM you followed the previously itself. So now in finite element methods say, so if you want to improve the accuracy, what do you do? Now, suppose if I have a domain like this, okay. See now what do you do in finite difference, sorry, finite element method? Now, so this is my domain. Okay, if I want to improve the accuracy, now what do you do in finite element? You people have done right in your
Increase the number of elements.
that means you are decreasing the mesh size actually. Suppose h is this one, so smaller you followed, right, h. So this is how you try to do. Okay, so you decrease into more number of elements, or maybe you followed, right, you decrease h the spacing actually. So this is what you known as h refinement. You remember? So this is widely used in FEM actually. So there is also one more refinement which is used in finite element, R refinement also. Anybody know this R refinement? So what do you do in R refinement? So you don't discretize the mesh. See here, H refinement, the whole domain has been divided into small elements actually. Okay. So in R refinement, what one does is wherever required only you make the mesh into more detail actually. Okay. Adaptive mesh also some people call this one. So this region. So wherever you feel that this region, say you may have to do more this one instead of refining the entire thing. So you can do in a small region. See, like for example, in our this seismic simulations, say. So suppose whenever you are having a hillock actually, okay, so there may be a hill or something like that. So now when you are doing this element, spectral element or whatever finite element meshes, see here we don't require you follow, right, the large mesh. Here the element size can be very large actually. But when you are near the surface or when you are seeing these type of boundaries, say, so here this place you may have to divide them into, you followed it, more number of the elements actually. Okay, so this is sometimes known as R refinement also. Okay, now what is another way to increase accuracy? Now instead of H refinement, so what is another way to increase accuracy in FEM?
So increasing number of nodes.
Number of nodes means what is that you are increasing?
Number of unknowns or
No, what is
degree
that?
of polynomial.
Degree of polynomial actual. Okay, so this is what we call as P refinement. Okay, so you are not decreasing anything, so the element size remains the same, everything remains the same, but the polynomial you followed, right, is higher order polynomials you have used. You followed. So higher order, if you are increasing the order of the polynomial, means the nodes will increase and all other things, obviously you followed it, it comes. So this is what we call as a P refinement kind of a thing. Okay, and now our spectral methods say, so they all come under you followed, right, this P refinement itself actually. Okay, and now in our spectral method what we do is like this. So generally if you have any domain, say, okay, so if your domain is divided into several the points here, so in finite difference what did we do was in finite difference method, so you followed it to find out a derivative here. What did we use to find out the first derivative? If you use only the the forward difference or central difference, say, so to find out derivative at this point we use this point and we use this point. Now to find out derivative at this point, say, what to do is you f of x plus h minus f of x minus h. So these is how we try to do in the finite difference method. Okay, but in finite difference also you can increase the order by the 9 by 8. Remember 2 comma 4 4 comma schemes we already defined in our previous also, that also you can do. So in finite difference we do like this. Now in spectral methods or in pseudo spectral method, what is that you are doing? Now just above problem you have seen, right? How did we solve the above problem? Now in spectral methods how we are solving? Now how did we solve the above problem? How we are solving? They are all basically collocation, right? What is that you are doing in collocation?
So collocation we see based on number of unknowns we define collocation points.
Points. So now we method say. So what is that doing essentially? So if you have 20 points are there, okay, 20 collocation points say, what should be the order of the polynomial you have to assume, or how many basis functions should be there? See, I have 20 collocation points are fixed. So at all these points, I want the error to be 0. Okay. So now what should be the order? How many basis functions are? What should be the order of the polynomial? Now.
So order should be 20.
It should be
20.
Suppose if it is a 20, say what should be the order of the polynomial?
So
See
20.
that 20 itself. Okay, so which means so if so what does our color, so our spectral methods, what you are doing is you are not dividing it into any this one you followed, right? So this is how we can, so all the points you are using, you see the higher order polynomial to define this method itself. Okay, so this is what so the whole high, so we are having, you see, higher order polynomial for the whole domain. You followed. So that this is the higher order polynomial for the whole domain. So this is what we try to do in the collocation method or this spectral methods. Okay, so in finite difference or other methods we try to do, you followed, right? Now in finite element, what you try to do, what do you do in finite element? What do you do in finite element? So if this is my domains in finite element, what do you do? The whole domain is there. What you try to do? So you have done, right, FEM course. Suppose if this is my beam, say, okay. Now what do you try to do in finite element method? For a simple beam problem, okay. So like for example, if you are having a in spectral method, say if it is a beam problem, say if there are 10 points are there, you take a 10-degree polynomial, say all starting from x square and all those things, and you fit a 10-degree polynomial directly to the at the collocation points itself. Now in FEM, what do you try to do? So whenever you are having any things, what do you try to do? You do it into, you divide them into some elements, you remember, right? Elements kind of a thing. Then you define all those shape functions and others you followed. So you try to do so you try to do these shape functions, you find out the constants from all other things itself. Okay, so this is how we try to do it in the final the framework actually. Okay, so anyway, this is how it goes, but anyway, these are most important for us. So spectral methods, these were the basic difference between the pseudo spectral methods and other methods is you are using higher order polynomials, so you are fitting one for the entire the domain itself. So now this, the main advantage of this is so your series coefficients, whatever coefficients are there, say, okay. So what other series coefficients you are having, your an of your orthogonal polynomials, they are anyway related to this grid point values actually. Okay, so that is at the collocation point. So un at the xi error is 0, but displacement is not 0 there. So series coefficients, this depends on this itself. So now if n is increased, say what happens is pseudo spectral methods, it has when n increases, you see, so two things increase. One is the interval. Okay, so the interval h it comes down. Okay, so that is between the grid points, say, decreases. So now when point decreases, what happens? When the distance becomes very small, so what happens is you followed, right, the error also decreases actually. Okay, so this also decreases, then automatically the order of the higher order the polynomials are automatically they come into picture. You followed. So this is the main advantage. Two things happens. One, so if you increase the number of points, so interval becomes down, and because the number of points are more, say, you may have to use, you know, the higher order terms into picture actual. So now here, you know, what they say is, you know, so the h, so your spacing, say, is of the order, you know, 1 by n, because you know, it depends on the number of this itself. So the error in pseudo spectral method, say, okay, so the error in pseudo spectral method, so it is proportional to, you know, so one can write this as, you know, the error is 1 by n whole to the power of, you see, the n itself actually. So this is how, you know, the error also decreases, you know, exponential. You follow it, the convergence will be there, or, you know, so sometimes is also known as an exponential convergence also. Exponential convergence, you know, so like that you followed it. So this is the main advantage of this, you know, the pseudo spectral method. So as you increase the number of points, interval is becoming small, error also is decreasing because of these two things, you say. So automatically the error becomes, you know, it becomes a proportional to 1 by n whole to the power of n itself. So, you know, if you have, so if n increases, say, from 10 to 20, you followed, right? So the error will becomes, you know, of the order of so this h to the power of 20 itself. So this is the main, you know, the advantage or whatever thing with this pseudo spectral method. Okay, so this is the main, you know, the philosophy. Or sometimes the spectral methods, you know, people, you know, many textbooks, if you see, they say that the spectral methods have, you know, exponential convergence, they say. This is the reason why, you know, the exponential convergence becomes because of higher order polynomial. Then interval also becomes very, very short actually. And even in the last class also we have seen what is the dispersion. So dispersion, what happens in pseudo spectral method? See, last class we substituted, no, that von Neumann, you know, that e to the power of I omega, you know, that dt, then you know, the kx into, you follow, dx or something we substituted, and we found out that the dispersion stability issues, say, so they will be followed. So in pseudo spectral method, what was the thing we made? You remember? See, what is the dispersion capability in pseudo spectral? So last class we made, no, one important statement. See, dispersion is more in finite difference or more in pseudo spectral. You remember last class we made an important statement.
It's a more infinite difference.
It was more in finite difference. Here it is small actual. Okay, so that is advantage in pseudo spectral methods you followed, right? So error will be less, and obviously because h is decreasing, say, so automatically dispersion also will be, you know, the less actual in this pseudo spectral methods. Okay, so now coming to this orthogonal polynomial. So the choice of the basis functions. Okay, what type of basis functions have to be used? So last class we have defined, you know, two types actual. One is, you know, the Fourier series you can use, or the Chebyshev, you know, the polynomials here itself. So here also, when to use a Chebyshev polynomial, when to use this Fourier series polynomials. So generally the rule is, you know, the geometry, based on the geometry of the problem you have to decide. Okay, so geometry of the problem, say, so this is the most, you know, the important thing. Okay, you know, what type of basis functions you have to use actually. See, suppose if you are having, you know, the periodic, say, so the medium also there are some periodicities and other things are there. So okay, so what type of basis functions you will, it will be useful now if it is a periodic, say.
Fourier series will.
Fourier series will be helpful actually, sine and cos. Okay, suppose if it is non-periodic, say. Now, what type of basis functions you use? Okay, so last class we said, right, Chebyshev. Okay, so Chebyshev, you know, the polynomials are sometimes, you know, the legendary polynomials also will work. Okay, so if it is a non-periodic, Chebyshev or you know, the legendary polynomials will work, and if it is semi-infinite, say. Okay, so we are having infinite also, semi-infinite. So which means you followed, right? So x goes from, you know, 0 to infinity kind of a thing. So this also we have. So these are all finite domain. Periodic means, you know, your theta goes from this 0 to 2 pi kind of a thing. Non-periodic, so let us x belongs to, say, -1, 1. It is a finite, then Chebyshev comes. If it is a semi-infinite, say, so then, you know, there are some special functions are the rational, you know, Chebyshev. Okay. So these polynomials are, you know, these Laguerre polynomials are there. Okay, so these comes into picture. Okay, now suppose if it is infinite domain, say, so all are going from the minus infinity to infinity, so x belongs to minus infinity to infinity, so then the guideline is one can use this rational Chebyshev, so these functions. Okay, Chebyshev or this Hermite polynomial, so there are some guidelines are there, it is nicely given in that textbook. Okay, so these type of polynomials they will be used actually, but anyway in when mostly in the simulations we use a periodic or non-periodic cases, so Fourier and Chebyshev set, so these are the ones which are the widely used in practice actually. Okay, so now of course last class I think we have defined in the Fourier series and other things I have discussed, so we don't think you followed, right? That is required right now. Okay, so you can so and now in the I think we have also defined this Chebyshev also. Okay, in the last class, so just you can try this textbook, he has given very nice the problems. So what is the problem with Fourier series? Last class I already told you. What is the main disadvantage of this Fourier series? What type of functions Fourier series will give you a problem?
For non-periodic functions.
Yeah, non-periodic, but like you followed, right? We have told, no? Suppose if you're having, I think I don't know how many of you solved x square. Have you fitted the Fourier series? So last, I think that Eigel's book also contains, the Fourier series expansion for x square. I showed you, right, in the last class also. Okay, so now for x square, so what happens in the Fourier series, or even if you take a straight line. Okay, now what is the Fourier series for a straight line? That is a linear function. Okay, so which is something like x itself. So now what is the Fourier series expansion for x, and x, let us say it lies from some 1 to 1 minus 1 to 1 or something. If you do this Fourier series expansions for these type of functions, what was the important thing we observed in the last class for x square? See what did we say? So so we have said that any Fourier series thing, you remember, so it nicely matches actually, but near the ends what happens?
Gibbs phenomena will be there.
Gibbs phenomena you followed it. So but in between you will get a nice result. You increase whatever order you want, say, but it will be fine, but at the end points you will have a series the problems actually, so the error will be very very high at the end points. So this is the main thing with the Fourier series. Okay, so this is a big problem in Fourier series, so you can try. So for a straight line, for your understanding, so you can do this one. So like for example, when you have a functions like this also, okay, same half sine pulse. This also you would have seen in your dynamics also regularly used. So this also if you do a Fourier series expansion, say, of course it will be very good, whether here Fourier series works or not here for these type of functions. See if I do a Fourier series expansion, say, it will be what? See Fourier series for these type of problems, Fourier series will work or it will not work?
It will work.
It will work only, it will give you more or less exact, but here these places you will have some type of an error, so you can plot actually. Okay, you can verify yourself the Fourier series also. So now so this Fourier series you can see, so this is a main problem with our Fourier series, but of course as already I told, it works very nicely for this periodic functions itself. So these one the solutions. And then I think last class we have also said this Chebyshev polynomials. Okay, so they also which are for aperiodic and other things, we use this this Chebyshev polynomial, and of course Chebyshev is also relative of this Fourier series itself. Okay, so we define like this, so Tn of z, some cos of n theta kind of a thing, and I think we defined all the orders of the Chebyshev polynomials. Okay, as far as I remember. So I think we used this saying, right, fn. So if any function is there, say, so we write as so sigma n is equal to 0 to capital N. So we have a coefficient and these are our Chebyshev polynomials. Okay, so this is how the Chebyshev thing comes itself. And now here also there is one very the important thing, Chebyshev, the collocation points. How collocation point is a very important thing in this one also. Okay, so this is the most important thing. So how to choose collocation. Okay, or interpolation also. We followed. So this is a very the important thing here itself. So if you have any function, say, okay, so so let us say you followed, right? So if you have any interpolating function, say, okay, so let us say you are having any function f of x. Okay, now the interpolating function. So let us say this interpolating function, say it may be Fourier series, or it may be polynomial, or it may be Chebyshev polynomial, or whatever it is. Okay, so we represent this like this, Pn minus 1 into x. So this is an approximation. Okay, so now it is any ordinary polynomial, or it can be anything. So it has n degrees of freedom. Yeah. So now our requirement is, what's the requirement in collocation method? Nah. So our collocation methods, so these are original function. So we are approximating this with Pn minus 1 into x, and it has, of course, including the constant, it becomes P naught, and we followed it Pn minus 1. Now what's the most important thing in our collocation method? Now, so what is the important thing in collocation method? Now, or interpolation, say.
Selecting collocation points.
So at collocation points, so what should be 0?
So error should be 0 at collocation.
What is error here? So f of x is actual. This is approximation, say. So your error is basically f of x minus Pn minus 1 into x. So this itself is your error function actual. So now in linear interpolation also, or even in our pseudo spectral, so at this so at this collocation points, say, so Pn minus 1 at x size. Okay, at all these points, both of them should be same actual. So this is our requirement. Okay, so these x's are interpolating points or collocation points. Okay, so this is our requirement. So now here you would have seen the interpolation long back. You would have studied also the polynomial interpolation or Fourier. Anything you can use. No, you would have studied also, because this is required for our FEM later on. We'll just see if you see this polynomial interpolation. Say, suppose if you want to interpolate, see, suppose I have a function like this, and I have taken 2 points actually. So with the 2 points, what highest polynomial you can fit with the 2 points? With the 2 collocation points, say, you can fit only 2 points. Which, what is order?
First order polynomial.
What is it? First order polynomial. So with the 2 points, you can fit a quadratic. Cannot fit, right? So quadratic equation means ax square plus bx plus c. So 3 constants will be there for quadratic. Okay, so quadratic means you require 3 points. With the 2 points, you can at the most you can fit a straight line. Okay, so with the 2 points, say, so our function will be like this. Lagrange, you would have studied this one. So x minus x1 by you would have studied these things. Okay, multiplied by f of x naught. So these at 1 point plus x minus x naught, say, by x1 minus x naught multiplied by f of x1. So this is our interpolation. So now you are representing the function f of x through this the polynomial. This is interpolation, and we all know that so p1 at x naught, say, should be same as f of the x naught, and p1 at x1, say, this should be same as f of the x1. So this is how we try to fit our the equation. Now suppose if I have 3 points, say, then what do I do? I have 3 points, x1, x2. What is the order of the polynomial I can fit when there are 3 points? Quadratic polynomial. So you can fit right like this. So p1 of p2. So you can fit a quadratic. So this is f of x naught. Then p2 x1 is equal to f of x1. Okay, then P2 of x2 is equal to f of x2. So 3 points are there. So you can fit the second order this one. So this you can write as P2 of x as the x minus x1. Okay, so these are the interpolations, x minus x2. These are all Lagrange polynomials. Okay, x0 minus x1, and then x0 minus x2 multiplied by f of x0 plus x minus x0, x minus x2 by x1 minus x0, okay, and x1 minus x2 multiplied by f of x1. Then we have x minus other combination will come, x0, then x minus x1, okay, by x2 minus x0, then x2 minus x1 multiplied by f of x2. So this is our second order polynomial. That's same as ax square plus bx plus c kind of a thing itself we have actual. Okay, so this is what the classical the Lagrange the interpolation we say. So if we have n plus 1 points say, okay, so then we have to fit a polynomial of nth degree. Okay, so you can fit a polynomial of nth degree. So the Lagrange interpolation formula, if you remember, say in your FEM you would have studied here. So that is I is equal to 0 to n. So f of xi say multiplied by c of the x. Oh, sorry, c of x itself. Now, so this is our Lagrange interpolation formula. Now, so what are these functions known as in Lagrange interpolation? Have you heard? See these functions, what do we call them? This function, what do we call in Lagrange interpolation? Has anybody knows? See, because these are very important, in our FEM and others. Now, what do you call these type of terms? See, Lagrange, what do you call these terms? X minus x1, these these terms. Anybody knows or nobody? See, we call them as cardinal functions. You followed. So these are what terminology used for polynomials actually. So their condition, so cardinal function is, so if you have any cardinal function say at that particular point, so it should be delta ij. You followed, right? So when I is equal to j, it is undefined. Okay, when I is not equal to j say, it will be 0 itself. That is how these cardinal functions comes into picture. And ci of x, so you can write using this expression. So j is equal to 0 and j is not equal to I. So you can write them as x minus xj by xi minus xj. Okay, so these is how they are defined actually in the Lagrange the interpolation. Okay, so these are the what we call as the cardinal the functions also. In sometimes in our finite elements. So what do you call these type of things? What do you call these things in finite elements? Now, see, you people have done, right, FEM course. What do you call these type of cardinal functions only? This x minus x1, x minus x2. What do you call in FEM?
Shape functions?
Shape functions only. They are nothing but shape function only. You follow, right? The shape functions are nothing but cardinal functions also. You remember in FEM also you do interpolation only. See, whatever I am talking now is nothing new. You people have already done in FEM course. Okay. So if you see any FEM textbook, you will get the same thing only. So anyway, sometimes they are known as Lagrange shape functions also, or Lagrange basis also. Similarly, you can write for Fourier series also. See, for Fourier series also, they are all cardinal functions only. You remember that orthogonality principle and other things also will come into picture. And now here, the most important thing was how to choose the collocation point. This is what we were discussing. Okay. Now, how do we choose this collocation point? This is a very, very, the important thing. Now, suppose if I have to fit a third or three polynomials, so third orders, if I have gone up to third order, so how many collocation points are required? If I am fitting a third order, say 3 basis functions, so how many collocation points? 3. And now how do I place these 3? How do I place these 3? Where I should keep them? Suppose my domain is -1 to 1. Okay, so this is my domain. I want to solve our equation. Now how this collocation points out to me, where I have to take. You can have a variety of choices, right? I can take -1, 0, 1. The endpoints also I can include, or I can take this point and this point and this point also I can take, or I can take there are so many ways actually. So how do we choose this thing, collocation points?
So based on where we don't want errors, sir.
So I don't want error at any place. Okay, yeah, honestly, you followed, right? Our differential equation, we want it to get satisfied at each and every point in the domain, but since we are unable to do so, you have to make the error 0 at some points. So if it is 3, say, then I have to make the error at 3 points. So now how do I choose these 3 points? What should be the spacing, or what is the guideline? What is the guideline given? What's the easiest guideline? Tell me. Just
Equidistance.
so equidistance means how? See, suppose my domain is from -1 to 1, say. So total length is how much? It is 2. So I divide this into 3 points actually. Okay. So one thing is equally spaced. You follow the equally spaced, we say. So now -1 to 1, say. So I will take my first point at -1. 1, and then the 1, so the distance is 1 1 kind of a thing I have actual. Okay, so equal spacing is this one. So this is one choice actual, but now this equal spacing has a lot of you see problem. Whether do you people think the equal spacing will work? See, for this type of equal spacing will work, or it is fine.
No, sir, because your maximum error should be compensated, but we can't compensate your maximum error by equal spacing.
No. Where you see equal spacing or whatever you do say, whether it is fine or something is required. See, previously we have discussed, if you are using Fourier series, so what's the problem? See, the Fourier series, what did we say in the Fourier series here? See here, what is that in the Fourier series? What is the problem in Fourier series? Where error is more?
So at the ends, error was more.
So the at the ends, so the error is very, very high at the ends. Now what is the comment here? What should be your spacing?
Decrease spacing at the ends.
So now in the middle anyway, Fourier series will match with the data. There is no issue, but only at the end points you have this problem. So what the idea here is, so instead of going for equal spacing, say, okay, because of Fourier, say other problems are there. So you take some irregular, you followed, right? Irregular spacing actually. Okay, so there is one famous problem in the FEM, that is Runge's function is there. Okay, this is a very famous problem. Of course, he has shown with polynomial. So with Fourier series also same thing. See, now this is a function, say f of x is 1 by 1 plus x square, and x lies from -5 to 5. In the textbook also he solved this very nice problem. So this Runge's function, say if you try to plot it, it looks like this. It is just like a Gaussian the kind of a thing. It is a Cauchy distribution only anyway. Okay, so this -5 to 5, this is exact function. Now let us say you have to approximate this with a 6 points, say. Okay, 6 point or 6 degree of freedom or whatever. So if you make all the points are equally distributed, what happens is the approximation will be like this. Okay, so something like this. Suppose if you increase the order of the polynomial, say, so if the original data, if it is like this, if you increase the order of the polynomial, what happens is at the end points, say the error, it will oscillate like this, but all other points it will exactly match with the the data itself. You followed? So now what happens as you keep on increasing the polynomial, the order of the polynomial, so what happens is at the end points, so the error becomes very, very large, but here the error will be very small, or it will go to 0, but here the errors will increase like anything actually. So what happens in this problem? So generally we said, right, if you increase the number of basis functions, say, so automatically everything should come to 0, but that doesn't happen. This is a very, very special problem. where at the endpoints error increases are like enormous as you increase the number of the polynomial. So that's why you see people we have to use this unequal the spacing. So this anyway is for the polynomials, but even for the Fourier series, that is a main problem actual. At the ends, when you are having this type of functions, the error will be very large, but inside the problem, error will be very, very small kind of a thing. So for this, what we use is, this is Chebyshev nodes. Okay. So we use this Chebyshev nodes or the Chebyshev, the spacing. Okay. So this is what the Chebyshev spacing it gives. Okay. So the Chebyshev polynomial say. So it is essentially the roots of our the Chebyshev the equation itself. So the grid spacing is like this. So you have a semicircle say. Okay. So you divide the semicircle into equal segments. So these are all my equal. Okay. So these are all equal line segments. You follow, right? A semicircle. You divide this into equal spacing. Now this you project it onto a this line say. Now you will get the spacing actually. So like this. Now this if you project now you can see. Now what is happening here? No. On a circle they are of the same equal size. Okay, so the spacing is same for here. How much is the spacing? You followed it. The spacing is same on the top of the circle, but these points you project it onto this line. So these are what we call as the Chebyshev nodes actually. So now here when you do this Chebyshev nodes, say where sampling is high, no,
At the ends.
at the ends actual. So now here you put more this one, but in the middle say the spacing will be large actual. So this xi, okay, so it is defined as minus cos 2i minus 1 into phi by 2 into n plus 1. Okay, so these are our Chebyshev nodes 1 2 up to n plus 1 actual. So high sampling at the ends. You follow the and here very large spacing. Okay, here the very, very dense actually. The points are located very this one. So one can also, so this is what is, so the collocation points is say. So generally you follow, right? Everybody does do this Chebyshev nodes actually. So these are wide. That is why this is Chebyshev polynomials and others. They are very important in spectral methods because of this error. So in Fourier series also we have a problem. Errors are high at the ends. In the middle, that will everything will be fine. Now even in ordinary polynomial interpolation also we have this problem. So if you are having a function like this Range's function or something, so middle it will be fine. At the ends they oscillate. You followed it very, very wild actual. So that's why you see this Chebyshev nodes are widely preferred actual. And generally when you are solving ordinary differential equations, we don't know even the solution actual. Okay, so the solution itself you are interpolating. So you don't know a quantity and then you are interpolating that quantity, so then error will increase like many times. So the best thing is you go with this the Chebyshev the nodes itself. Okay, so this is the most important thing in our this how to choose this collocation points. Now here also very, very important thing comes. See, like you people would have studied Gaussian quadrature. What is the philosophy of Gaussian quadrature? In Gaussian quadrature, what do you do, right? If you want to solve any integral, say, so how do you solve in Gaussian quadrature? So you have an integral like this, okay? So a to b, some integral you have. You have to evaluate a function f of x dx. What do you do in Gaussian quadrature? What do you do in Gaussian quadrature method? You would have studied, right, in FEM, which is a most important thing. What do you do in Gaussian quadrature?
We consider some Gauss points.
What are those Gauss points? Now, what are those Gauss points?
So they wait.
Now, what are those? How do you get the Gauss points? No, how do you write the Gauss points? You remember, how do you get? So we write this as, you remember, I is equal to some 0 to n. So wi into, you know, f of, you remember, xi kind of a thing you write. You remember this Gaussian quadrature. So what are the Gauss points? Where those points will be located?
Weight and basis functions, they are weight and basis functions only.
What are those? See, like for example, you remember Gauss legendary quadrature, what you would have studied, right, in your LPM. So if there are 2 points, say, where the things are located. So if you remember what the weights and others, if there are 2 points, say, so where the points will be located. So if the region is from -1 to 1, generally Gauss quadrature is defined from 1 to 1. So where will be the Gauss points will be located? You remember where the Gauss points will be located. -1, 1 is there. So this is a domain. The first, do you remember 2 Gauss points where they will be located? The first one will be at -1 by √3, you remember 1 by √3 kind of a thing, and the weights will be 1 1 you give actually. Okay, suppose if there are 3 Gauss point formula, say, so they will be located at, you know, root of 3 by 5, like that, you know, you find out. So they are anyway nothing but you know, the legendary is root of you know, the legendary polynomials. Okay, so these are Gaussian quadrature, you remember. So legendary polynomial comes into picture. So these are the Gauss points. Okay, the Gaussian quadrature, you know, it comes into picture actual. So now these weight functions, say, so you can link it to other things also. So these are basic philosophy behind this Gaussian quadrature. So these weight functions, so they are nothing but you know, these cardinal functions actually. So whatever Ci of x we have defined, so its area under the curve is given by this wi. Okay, so this is how we say we do this Gaussian, you know, the quadrature. So now here also, so you followed, right? So this Gaussian quadrature say. So if you choose this, you know, the pseudo spectral, you know, the grid size. So now we are having, you know, a Chebyshev, this one. So this Galerkin method, I think. So in the Galerkin method, say, now what do we do in Galerkin method? Above I told you, right? What we do in Galerkin method? So you remember in the starting we discussed collocation method, Galerkin method. And now in Galerkin method, what you are doing? Just now I told you, right? In Galerkin method, what do you do? In the starting, you remember we discussed, right, the Galerkin method. So what do we do in Galerkin method approach? The starting I told you, right? So if you have you know, any equation, say, so what do you do in Galerkin? So this was a collocation method. So what is the basic philosophy behind Galerkin method? See here, what is that we have said? Residual error is
orthogonal to the basis functions.
Basis functions. Okay, so orthogonality means you have to solve this integral. You have seen here. So these are the integrals actual. Okay, epsilon x, phi 1 of x, epsilon x here. So now in these integrals, say, okay, suppose now these integrals, if you solve these integrals with Gaussian quadrature, you followed. If you solve these integrals with Gaussian quadrature at this collocation points, say, and then use this, you know, the collocation points, whatever you are having. So let us say you have taken, because you have to solve this integral, say. So now to solve this integral also, you require Gauss points actually. Suppose if you take these Gauss points as same as collocation points or our Chebyshev nodes or something, one can show mathematically that Galerkin method and collocation method, both of them are same actually. You understand? So now in collocation method, what you are doing, we are writing this itself. In Gaussian, this you know, the Galerkin method, say, we have to solve integrals actually. Okay, so but finally when you use Gaussian quadrature, these type of techniques, so finally your integral also is replaced with some type of a summation itself actually. Okay, so one can show that, you know, this Galerkin method and collocation, say, both of them you know, they are interlinked also. You follow. So they are more or less, you know, interlinked kind of a thing also, you know, one can choose, one can say. Okay, So anyway, so this way you followed, right? So you can solve, you understand, right? Interesting problems using this, the pseudospectral method itself. Okay. So I will stop here. Next class we will continue. So what I suggest all of you is, I have given you that John Boyd's textbook, right? So you please go through that textbook there. He has written very nicely the starting chapters. Whatever I discussed also comes from that book itself. So all these things are very, very important for to proceed for our spectral element. That is the next topic, and even finite element, and even in this spectral methods. Okay. So fine. So I stop here. So we'll continue in our next class. Yes. See, Bhargavi, you are there.